Once again, it's on.
How's it going, Gag?
How are you, buddy?
I'm well, man. How are you?
Good, good, good. What's your
Good
topic
to
for
know.
today? I can't read that thing.
Oh, you can't read that? Is it too small?
Yeah, I think my phone is not. It's fairly worn out, I guess. So,
Okay, it says from caterpillar to butterfly. Are you capable of transformation?
hmm, to tell you the truth, I'm not a believer in any way, mate. I don't know if you know that. I believe I take it that you're a faith man, yeah.
What would give you that indication?
Um, I don't know. I've just got that feeling. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude, or
Yeah, well, I don't, Yag, I don't make any assumptions about whatever, whoever you are, and I would appreciate it if you don't do the same about me. You would be wrong. I'm a no man. I'm not a faith man. I'm a no man. So you would be 180 degrees wrong. But that's neither here nor there.
I'm
The
I'm
question
sorry. I'm
is,
sorry because I saw you just looking at your profile photo. I thought, well, it's it's very interesting photo. That it's
it's a microphone in front of a brain in front of a sun.
And I looked at it thinking, well, what is this? Some god falling out of the sky or something? Which I'm wrong, and I take that back, and I'm really sorry to offend
Yeah,
you.
you're all right. You're all right. You're all right. But we're wise men, so we know not to assume. We're wise men.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Go
know
back.
nothing about you, Yag. I only go with what you give me.
Yeah, go back to your topic. Um, it's a very interesting topic actually because I just the other day I was thinking when I pass on, when my energy moves on from
I love hearing from you guys.
hello, yeah, when my energy moves on from the reality I'm in now, um, I
What's
uh,
what's happening, Carlos? Go on, Yag.
my energy will. I actually I was really thinking hard about it the other day, and I was thinking, well, we might go out of this jackets we all wearing and be stored in a battery. Our energies go back into a battery, and this is
Mm.
only my thought. And then we decide. Then we are asked, according to our being with this jacket now. Then we are asked what we would rather our energy go into a cow or into a caterpillar, like you say, or whatever living thing there is there, but not back into a man, or depends if you pass the test, you come back as a man. I don't know. But I certainly don't believe in a heaven in the sky.
But it sounds like you do have somewhat of a belief system, even though you said you're not a believer.
I'm not a believer, but I know that the energy doesn't die within us. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
I can go for that. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because we are energy,
Okay, we're
and
coming.
energy never dies. Only our jacket dies.
One second, Lee. 1 second, Lee. I'll come to you.
Our matter
I just got a quick
dies.
question for him.
Lee.
Our
One
matter
second,
dies, but would it be
Lee. 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 1 second. Let him land, and then I'll come right to you. I promise. You'll be the first. Go ahead, Yak.
Yeah, I've landed. I've landed. My energy never dies. Will pass on from here, goes into a battery, or it floats around in space, if you understand, until I find another host, so to speak.
Okay.
Until the energy finds another host, and it could be a caterpillar, it could be could be a cow, for
So
that
that
matter.
sounds as if you may believe in reincarnation potentially.
Um, I can't say I believe in it because I don't believe. Believe is a doubt, is a dream, is a
I'm
fantasy.
I'm with you. I'm with you on all of that. I'm with you. But at the same time, that's what you're articulating is that, or maybe I should say, you're hypothesizing. Is that what it is?
Probably that's a better word.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Lee, come on in, Lee.
Hey, I
How's it going,
he
man?
made me tingle because I thought of him. He said, if you pass the test, you can come back as a human. What if coming back as a human was failing the test?
Well, then you failed the test. I didn't mean it
But
as such.
no. It was a beautiful idea. I mean, I would love to come back as a dog or a horse or a bird. There'd be a lot less pain involved if I came back as those things. So maybe the test is being and enduring being a human so that we can actually come back as something that can live in peace in a beautiful world.
Oh, mate, if that is, I would go with that too. I often think of these things, and the one that make me feel good, I stay with for the day or for the week or for as long as
That's
I
funny.
can. Why is that funny? Because our reality,
Well, because
your own
you
reality,
might have a
you
million
create your
thoughts
own
every day.
reality, and whatever makes you feel good, it's yours. Oh, sorry.
I'm totally not opposed to any of that. Uh, yeah, no, I'm not opposed to none of it. It was still funny to me though, the way you said
Because
it,
everybody
the way it
makes his
came
own
off.
reality.
I won't really argue with that either. Let me. So Lee, can you kind of address the question at hand, Lee? Are you capable of transformation, Lee? And what does that look like?
I'm trying. I'm trying. I see. Well, I see the whole world right now as like that caterpillar. It's we're struggling to get out of the cocoon or whatever it's the what is it, chrysalis.
Mm.
We're struggling to get out of it right now. Some of us are out already. Our wings are flapping. Is
Man,
humanity as a
stop it.
whole flying yet?
Stop it, bro.
Hey,
You're
hey,
doing
hey,
it.
hey,
What's everybody doing?
Mr. Live, you stop it,
No,
bro.
no.
Hey, we don't. That's not how we rock over here. So
Oh,
you
okay.
can hang out.
Gay
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
Gay
yeah.
life.
I'll bring you in. Don't worry. We're gonna have an open conversation, but we're starting off with like a little dissertation from everyone. Go ahead, Lee.
So I mean, I'm trying to. I've been trying for changing everything. I have done it and then slip back again, but I'm still trying, and I do believe we can.
Okay. Let
I'll,
me go to
I'll land right
Carlos
there.
really quick. Okay, good deal. Hang out though. Carlos,
Hey, brother.
billionaire.
Hey, yes,
What's up,
sir.
bro?
What's
Now
up?
check this
Hey,
out, Los.
I can't wait for your EGOT.
Wait. Say that again.
I can't wait till you get your EGOT.
Ah, brother, from your lips to the universe. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
You know. Um, hey, man. Let me ask you this kind of based on you, and you can also address the question on the screen, but let me ask you this kind of based on what Lee was just saying, because it kind of illuminated something in my mind's eye. Are we not caterpillars, Carlos? Is
Yeah,
this situation that we're in right now, in these stick figure bodies, could we potentially, Carlos, Mr. Billionaire, be caterpillars about to, go into life or whatever? You get what I'm saying? Could that be a potentiality?
absolutely. As a matter of fact, I would say that we are stick figures. I think is a good way to put it because I think a lot of us think of ourselves as high complex life forms, and maybe
Mm,
biologically we are, but that's reductive of the pureness of where we came from. So
mm,
so the
mm,
the true transformation is to get out of this trapped, reduced, classical measurable state and get back
mm,
to the immeasurable infinite state, right? Like to me, if I was going to be a measurable creature, I'd be a star, right? With a birth and a death. That would be my aspiration as a measurable creature. If I could be something else, I would return back to the unity that is all things. So yeah, one, you can transform.
mm,
Two, being a human, I think, although biologically complex, is is further away from the truth of who we really are.
I mess with it. I mess with that to the core. Lee, let me just tell you this, Lee. Yeah, I put the prompt question up, but your dissertation, Lee, your short dissertation, I'm calling myself a caterpillar from now on. You understand me? Like this body it's caterpillar like. When I see other human beings now in my mind's eye, I'm like, these are all caterpillars walking around. And we shall transcend, of course.
And turn into beautiful butterflies here.
I mean, hey, you kind of illuminated that for me. I appreciate you because again, I'm here to learn myself. Okay, let's go to Mia really quick. Mia,
Hi,
how are you, Mia?
I'm doing good.
Good, good. So, Mia, are you capable of transformation?
Oh, I can, well, based on from what I know, I can only understand that environment is everything, and the only way that's possible, I think, is if environment changes. And the only example I have is like how humans have a tailbone. So it's possible maybe there used to be a tail there, and now there's not. And then also hair. We have less hair, so that shows that like living in homes kind of made us this way. So that tells us that environment is everything. So I think it'd have a lot to do with environment, right?
Transformation would have to do with your environment.
Yes, I
Is that
think,
what you're giving us?
yeah, like a direct relationship with each other. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Hold on there. Stay tight. Tina, are you available yet, or you need a couple more minutes?
No, I'm back. Thank you.
How are you?
Fabulous, darling. Fabulous. How are you?
Good to know. Listen, it is a sunny day in Southern Cal. I had some chai tea earlier today at a coffee shop on Larchmont. Uh, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I'm here with you.
That's what I'm talking about. Been sunning it up all day.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well this is really good. This is a deep one and this is gonna help me to heal even more in my knowing today. I've had the butterfly analogy thing to help me throughout my healing journey. And one of the things that stood out that somebody said was like the wings of a butterfly, and I hope I don't botch this up, are like the universe. And
Okay.
uh-huh. And so like if you look at it or something, it'll come to me, but just let's pin that one. And then another thing is how inside of the cocoon, the caterpillar turns to, I'm doing air quotes, mush, okay? And that really was a thing for me whenever I was heavily into when I was a mom and my life fell apart. I have to prelude that, and I went into since Oracle's here, I'll say Oriental rug use
Okay. Okay.
heavily, but don't. And I injected. Not only is it bad already, but I lost veins in like one hit,
Mm.
and it was my spirit and the energy of my knowing that I felt like that inside of my own body, where my cells, everything, my muscle tone, everything went to another level of being. And my mindset is what kept me going with my faith, because I am a believer. I am a knower and a believer in the creator of the universe. And I know and believe, for me, and my theory of truth for me, is that humans are designed to be humans. And we want to think about as a man thinketh, but we continue to think that we're something else. So therefore we could be something else if we agree with as a man thinketh. So those are my pins for thought today.
Well, Lee has helped me to elevate my mind's eye to thinketh that I am a caterpillar on the verge. And the only reason why I refer to myself as a caterpillar in this particular moment, which is the only moment, is because I'm still in this meat bag. Yet I know that the light is inside and the light will never die. So, Lee has made me feel like, wait, like, so I'm a caterpillar.
Yeah, for
And
becoming.
so, yeah, and I'm going to transform more than likely, at the very least, into a light being which is able to zip, zap, zoop, zoop anywhere, anytime, any space.
If your
Lee helped me
desire,
figure that out. Go
yeah, I
on,
like that
Tina.
too. If your desire is not to be a human being, So when I was going through the phases of it, I had to ask myself and come to a realization that I enjoy giving birth. I enjoy
Oh,
playing with my grandchildren. I enjoy the things that come along with humanity.
there's a dirty joke there. I won't say it. It's
Please
TikTok. Go
don't,
on.
please don't. And so I had to make a decision because I don't know what it is inside where we all go to different universes within ourselves, and we can go down to as far as the worm and call ourselves whatever we want, you know. But as far
Yeah.
as the analogy of a caterpillar, I get the concept of being in the cocoon phases of coming out.
Yeah, like
That is
that's really,
complete surrender.
metaphysically speaking,
Yep.
the light is encapsulated within the caterpillar, waiting to emerge as the butterfly. The fly would be the freeness of the light and the energy. My man, Gallery, I'm a butterfly, bro. I'm sorry,
I
I'm a
love it.
caterpillar right now.
I love it.
I'm a caterpillar.
I love it because I feel like we are constantly changing if we are choosing so. Right, there are those that
Mm,
get stuck in that still water, but we can maybe say the term enlightened person is, and look, we do it here all the time. We learn, we grow, we change shape, we change
yeah.
form. We literally contort our bodies. We go up and down in weight. We change mental status.
Mm,
We go from straight nuts to having it all figured out in the same day.
yeah.
And one of our favorite conversations is the electricity, right?
Yeah.
That's the purest form that we actually have. That's the life force.
Yeah.
So, are we caterpillars? Are we transforming? Absolutely. Even those that don't agree to it, because even to not agree is
Mm.
still making a decision. It's still a move, and you can regress.
Bars.
You feel me? So yeah, I'm
Can
definitely
I
on
ask you a
young
question, mate?
grow
Can I
wings.
ask one question? Sorry, guys. Do you believe? Well, not believe. Do you? How? What do you think of our energy? Would our energy still have conscience when it leaves the body?
Energy is conscious.
Bars.
Yes,
The earth
yes.
is
Um,
earthing.
Energy,
that's
energy is
that's
something.
uh, that's that's debatable, I reckon. I
It's really not debatable because here's the thing. It'd only be debatable to someone that thinks that they know everything.
I,
You can't explain or understand the way energy
Well,
is expanding in
I
your
think
body at any given
the
time. You
problem
don't
with that
know
is the
why your
definition.
body does nuclear fission on a regular basis. You don't know why you're regenerating. You don't know why the planet is planeting. You're observing it at best and hoping to have an
planeting.
understanding. You dig? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Let me
But
hop on. Let me hop on that just for a
but
second. So I asked on a different live. I asked the question. You know, there's consciousness in the very particles that make up mass and matter. There has to be because those things have form, and the thing can't form itself.
Come on,
So
bro.
how did something as simple as hydrogen get
Come
its
on.
form?
First of all, stop it. This is
Come
first of all,
on.
I don't. The world can't handle this. You guys are
No.
calm down. Everybody, take a step back. What is going on? Whoa! What is going on? You trying to get us shut down, bro? Like a bit. Feed this a little bit at a time, Los
My bad.
Gallery Yag. A little bit at a time, bro. We are not in the that dimension. We are in a very unenlightened dimension. You got to give them little
see, bro.
teaspoons of stuff. Come on, bro. Like,
Get your
I
whoa,
love you so much.
get
I
your
love you
Oscar
so
and
much.
go.
whoa.
well,
I'm saying
let me
we got
repose that
university
question a
going
different
on.
way.
Go ahead, Lee. Go ahead, Lee.
So I like that question because it gave me tingles. But let's look at it this way: is all energy conscious?
No,
Come on.
can't be.
Who said no?
I said no.
Well, then there's different.
I love
There's
it.
two
I
different
love it. Let's
forms
get
of
it.
energy.
But let's
Maybe
get
the
it then.
definition
Yeah.
of energy.
Where does hey, wait, Yag, where does the consciousness end and
Because if
begin?
our energy maintains,
Lee? Lee, give me 1 second. I want to dance for
yeah,
Yag
because
just
we
for
always
2
call it
seconds.
energy.
Lee, can you hear me, Lee?
There's all sorts of forms of energy.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, 1 second. I just want to dance with Yag for 2 seconds. Yag, where would you say the energy begins and ends? Where would you say the consciousness begins and ends?
Consciousness begins and ends when our energy joins our physical being, our matter. And that's when conscious comes alive. But when the energy leaves this particular matter, and like I said before, if I pass on from here, I might become a cow or I might even become a tree. So if I become a tree, does a tree have consciousness?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
let's examine. You know, the
So
trees.
We know they
Okay,
do.
go on.
does that make sense or not?
Of course it does.
I would say they do have consciousness. I would say wholeheartedly that they do. They may have more consciousness than you and I. They're
Fact.
connected to the entire
Of course they
planet.
do.
We're not
Tell
even
'em.
connected to the planet.
Tell them.
They're grounded. We're not even grounded. We're like
So
satellites of the planet.
when I come
They
back, I
damn
want to
near
be a
are the
tree
grounding
because I'm underground and above ground.
as a tree.
As a tree, I will be in both worlds. I'll be under the earth and
So
above the
Right.
earth.
So how
doesn't
dare
that
you
answer your question?
disrespect the trees? How dare
Doesn't that
you?
answer your own
Now, when I
question?
said that, I didn't mean as disrespectful to the tree at all. I just, because I don't truly know, and I
Now you're
can't
talking.
say that the tree has consciousness because
Well,
I don't
listen,
know.
I've never had a direct conversation with the tree, but I would hypothesize. My studies are leaning toward the idea that the trees are as conscious as the air and as I and the baby deer,
Tell
the doe.
How, how would you
Opinion, when's
like
the
to
last time
truly
you hugged a
do?
tree?
Today.
And didn't you
Dude,
feel it?
I'm a certified weirdo. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I
I
know it.
kiss
Didn't you
my
feel
tree.
it?
I got a big oak tree out front of the house. I kiss it.
Bum.
Didn't you feel it?
All the time, bro. I mean, I wish I could
Yeah.
take my shoes off more than I wanted to, but I live in Los Angeles, so I mean, I can
Yeah,
get
you
to the
don't want to
beach,
step
but
in that.
that part.
Yeah, we know that they're alive. We know that they're conscious. We also know that we all communicate on different levels, and so many of us are so far on the level of lacking the type of consciousness that's willing to be open enough to something that doesn't speak verbally, which is the lowest form of communication that exists.
Come
If
on.
85% of communication
Okay.
is nonverbal, and we're working off 15%, thinking
Right?
that we know what we're talking about with different dialects.
It might sound silly, but do you electricity? That's energy,
Yeah.
right or wrong?
We agree.
When you
Yes.
plug your kettle into the wall, you get energy coming out to heat the water.
Yeah.
Does that
Oh,
have
Yes.
you're
That's quite why.
talking about that particular technology and how we
Yes.
channel electricity.
Yes.
Well,
Thank
It's still
you.
energy. Doesn't matter what it is.
it's
If
still
I'm
energy
energy.
not
comes down, it's
disagreeing,
still
Yeah,
man.
energy.
but
I'm not
you're the one
disagreeing with
that's
you.
talking about the way it's delivered, not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fact that it's all
I'm
around
not
you.
disagreeing
Right.
with you on that. I will say that yes, if you look in the sky and you see lightning in the sky, okay,
No.
and you
Uh-oh.
yeah,
Now
Oh,
you're getting too deep.
oh,
No, we're
wow.
not getting
it's
too deep.
telling
This is
you
what we do. This is the answers to your questions.
that there's a ground stroke that comes from the earth and it touches the sky.
Upward, and it
There's
goes to upward down to the earth.
correct.
Oh,
Talk about
so there's a question:
different forms of communication.
Is
Don't
lightning
do
You
that.
is lightning
I
I'm
told
conscious?
you this is remedial, Carlos.
let
Don't
me
do
just
that.
let me just call mute,
Oh,
bro. Yeah, all
oh,
right.
hell no! I'm tingling head to toe.
Come
Because
on,
Yeah,
yeah,
nah, I mean, the
what
guys
is
is in
like?
the building. That's why.
all
That's
day,
why the guys is in the building.
all
Let
day
me
to the
let a
night.
depth in the conversation. But yeah, hang out, man, because I love your counters because your
Yes.
counters allow us to dig even deeper for enlightened dancers. So just hang, bro. We getting it. Depth, what's up, bro?
Yo, what's good?
Hey, goody mob. So what you thinking, man? What you got for us?
What we're talking about right now? Well,
Yeah, I mean,
well,
just jump in when you fit in. You know how we do.
I mean, first off, consciousness itself is the innate attribute of spirit. So it allows it to become aware of the conditions and to respond intelligently. It's not
Mm.
a mere byproduct of the brain. Um, Like, I mean, all substance are conscious to some degree, because it's not limited to the human mind. Even atoms have rudimentary consciousness.
That's what I think Loser Gallery was like saying about the idea that the quantum particles have consciousness to be able to come together to make us.
Come on,
Yeah, the
bro.
process of affinity.
The things
There's an
between.
attraction. There's a response to stimuli, what we could call
Mm-hmm.
objective awareness. You know, so there's no such thing as dumb or dead matter. It's living, it's alive, it's sentient, just at rudimentary levels. There's levels to this shit, as they say.
There's levels to this ish. Go on.
Ish, yeah, to this ish. Now, because we just blanket do this we just blanket this term called consciousness and associate. So when we talk about plants or particles, atoms, and quantum particles, or even planets or whatever being conscious, or trees, we project our psychological, as I've always stated numerous times in here, our psychological brain conscious level or expression of consciousness or self-consciousness. This self-conscious aspect that reflects on our own existence, our own being. We can reflect and think about our very nature of existence.
I would say it like this, Adept, not to cut you off, you can keep going. I would say we project our conscious inadequacies upon the rest of the universe.
I like that. I like that.
I'm just saying what you said in a marketing package. That's all. Go on.
Yeah. Well, again, so like consciousness evolves with organization. So as a form becomes more complex, the consciousness within it, within that form, gains a greater scope. And so the body is the instrument of consciousness, but not the source. Now, if you want to get a bit more metaphysical and stuff, it's the
Instrument of consciousness. Some of these are bars. We going so fast, bro. Like, I mean, so you gotta take a moment. In church, they take a moment. Somebody say amen type thing. You know what I'm talking about? Go on, Adept.
To the bars.
Yeah, and so now us as human beings, again, the brain doesn't generate consciousness. It's merely translating the higher vibrations into thought and awareness.
Say it. That's that 15% that comes out verbal or physical. However we however we apply it.
Yeah, and in other ways, this is why, for instance, our brain it has a filtering process, because we already know what we're perceiving of reality through all of our senses. But let's say even visually, we know we're not seeing reality exactly as it is. Our brain is interpreting the stimuli through the photons and the retina and all that other stuff. But that's why when it comes to psychedelics, what psychedelics do, they shut off that filtering process. That's why everything just merges and blends, and you see extra stimuli that you're kind of blinded to, so to speak.
Yeah, that's
not
a fact.
aware of, while you're sober. And because there's so many other subtle vibrations and frequencies going on that we're just not attuned to. Because if we existed it's anti-survival. Again, nature is about survival and the reproduction of the species, whatever that species is. If we were to operate in that state of consciousness as we experience through psychedelics, we would not survive reality. It would be I forget the proper term. It would go against it in simple terms. It would not be beneficial. Therefore, our brain filters enough of reality in order for us to exist and live and survive to perpetuate the species.
And the realm of action is Malkut. Buddha sat still to stay in that state. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about it, Astra. Talk about it a little more.
The Buddha had to sit still to be in a state of union, a psychedelic state. Once you start taking action, once you start moving in the physical world, then you use that ego as a tool to interface with the world almost. So I don't really think like that Buddha state, that psychedelic state, is accessible when you're operating in the physical world and moving and doing that action.
Astra, just for argument's sake, someone might say that even when the monk is sitting, they're still moving. Someone might say that,
The breath.
at the very least.
The subconscious, the breath.
Okay. So what do you think about this question, bro? Are you capable of transformation? What does that mean to you? And how do you perform it? How do you achieve it if you do?
Yeah, I think I'm capable of transformation. How I achieve it is I take two opposing forces and I get the difference of them, and in that difference is truth usually, and that helps me transform.
Okay, I dig it. All right, we got a full deck of cards now, so let's get busy. Yag, I mean, we've been getting busy. Yag, you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yag,
Yep, I'm here.
Yag. Let me ask you a question, man. Have you always been alive?
As far as I know, I have always been alive. As far as I'm conscious, I have always been alive. I don't know about my energy before I was in this matter that I am now.
Well, what is before now?
Well, my energy did come from somewhere, didn't it? When it consumed in my mum's womb, that's why they say that that flash of light came in. Where did that flash of light come from? It's energy, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, but I'm trying to understand. I've been for a couple of weeks now. I've been asking the question: can you prove the past? And I'm still, listen. I'm in this world with you. Don't get me wrong. I have a Timex watch and all that stuff too, but I'm here to scratch surfaces and dig deep if possible. And so I've been asking the question: can you prove the past? And you said before now. Excuse me. You said before now, and I'm just like, well, now is all that I can ever prove. Now, yes, there definitely was a time that I was um, created within a womb, but that was now also. You
I
see,
can't prove.
so
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I can't prove the time I was hanging in my father's balls, for example. That I
yeah,
can't prove. But until I was out of my mum's and womb and got consciousness and started. I don't know what the word to use because I'm truly not from an English speaking background, but whatever. As once I got to know myself, then then I know I am here. I am alive.
okay.
Prior to being born, I don't know, mate. Sorry.
No, listen. I hear you. I hear you. And um, we know through at least watching women be pregnant and watching us men impregnate women, we know that there are worlds inside of us. There are universes inside of all the men on this panel right now. Universes, right? And so, no, in this moment, in this now, which is the only moment, I can't recall what that universe was like within my father. But I know that I was in my father from the experimentation that I've been a part of and I've been witnessing for 55 years. But check it out. Does that suggest, let me land, I'll land it and I'll come right back to you. Does that suggest that I won't remember this now and the next now, Yag?
Yep, I got you. I'm with you on that. But I'm not taking this from the Bible or anything. But in one sense, because I'm not a believer, but I know that I have my father in me because my father's passed on long ago. God bless his soul. But I believe in certain things I do and this and that. I say, wow, geez. And you know how people come and say, wow, you just look like your father or you look like your mother because you have them in you.
Pause. But yeah, I get what you're
So
saying.
they have lived, even though they have passed on, they are still alive in you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It makes all the sense in the universe. Go on. Who's got something?
So, but to remember something when I wasn't in the physical being, that is impossible. I don't think that is possible.
Hell no.
Mm,
You have traits of your ancestors before your ancestors in you
mm,
today that you can't account for. You paternity biologically is established by the woman on the child to look like the father so that she knows and the world knows who's the dad. That changes over time, but prior to that, you don't remember, but you will have thoughts and ideas and behaviors where you won't be able to account where they came from. You might be the weirdest one in your family. You can get into traits and genes and all that, but it's in you from your ancestors from before. That's why we say you are survived by when you
yeah.
pass
I
away,
get that.
right?
I
You
get
are
that.
survived by because these other strands of DNA from the Big Bang to today leave kind of like Theseus in the Minotaur. They leave this golden string to the beginning of time.
Carlos, we're about to have a good debate with Tina because Tina is not of the mind that we are alive inside of our fathers. Tina, unmute yourself. Let's deal with it. So
Um,
you don't think that there's worlds inside of me right now? I'm a grown man. You don't think that there's trillions of beings swimming around in me right now? Is that your dissertation?
I don't know, honestly. I think that there
Well, but
has
I
to be
do know.
something to it.
they,
There
they
has
were
to
on
be.
they were on some napkins last night. I do know. What do you mean? Like I do know.
So you spilling your seed and you telling me about it. I don't want to hear
Well,
that.
I mean, I'm just
All
experimental.
right.
It's science.
Hang
It's
on.
Why you
science.
gotta
Hang
say
on.
that? Why you gotta say
It's
that?
science. Just cut it out, you guys. This is
Okay.
science.
So
I thought
wiggly
I
they
thought he blew
are.
his nose. I thought he blew his nose. What did I miss?
Well, so to speak, but ladies and
He
gentlemen,
blew the trunk.
He blew
we'll
the
probably be
truck.
here all week.
The hard part.
Go on, Tina. I'm sorry. You see how the men get? Yeah. Go ahead, Tina.
So I know that they have energy because they're wiggly, but in another, like, this is only a touch on for information for me. I'm not an expert about this topic, about this, but some research is. So, like, if you look it up, you'll be able to see. But so for me to explain it, I would probably botch it. But it's something to the effect of the egg holds all of the like DNA stuff, and that might be the wrong, but
Okay, so check
everything
it
that
out.
it gives you, and then the sperm is the like igniter to it.
Okay. So now check this out.
Can
Now
I just
check
say
this
one
out, and
thing?
I'll let it go.
Sorry, guys.
Well, hold on one sec, Yag, and then I'll let it go. I'll let everyone kind of chime in on it. Here's the deal from my point of view, Tina. These beings inside of me right now, I am the God to them. They are feeding from me, my universe right now. I am the only universe that they can possibly is the key word, conceive of in this moment. Just as this universe that you and I are speaking in right now, Tina, is the only one that we have a conception of, that we're conscious of in the now, in the moment. And what I'm saying to you is before they get into that lovely vehicle that you have called an egg, Tina, and take on half of your traits, they are and always have been, or at least since I've been in puberty, alive inside of me. They're not dormant. They're not in
Right.
stasis. They're alive. And they may not be human yet, but they are beings nonetheless. I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay, so two things about that. One is the energy of the sperm that ignites in the egg, the way that I see it, is it has its electricity from you, from your energy, and it's searching for its egg. So I don't think that you have the same sperm. Like, I think it goes the next cycle, the next cycle, the next cycle. I don't think that they just sit in there
Well,
just
as I
waiting
said,
the
a
whole
few of them
time.
got massacred yesterday. So yeah, you would be right. You'd be right.
So for me, the energy from the creator that's spreading life through you and your seed is searching for the egg that's designed for its vibrational frequency. That's the way I see it. That's why when
Okay.
people say that children are not an accident, that's why I think that that's the theory behind
No,
that.
I like that. I'm just making the point, though, that these beings, before they become quote unquote humans as we know them, are alive in another dimension, which is me, billionaire, gallery, Yag and Lee and Adept. They are alive and well inside of us, and they live.
You're just holding the blueprint for the form, not the actual soul itself.
Yeah.
The soul is attracted to it. That's where the individuality comes into play. That's just like a car, but there's no specific driver. As they say, it's not about the car; it's about the driver who makes the car. You know, so it's.
But I have to agree with
that
it.
analogy.
I have to agree with opinion though too that they are beings to create a
Without,
vessel
without the driver,
that,
the
that
car
can
can't
house a
go
soul.
anywhere.
Without the car, the driver going to be standing on the side of the road.
Right now,
And
there's
first,
an
they're picking
interesting
on the egg.
video.
They
There's
go
an
hand in
interesting,
glove. They
interesting.
need each other. They need each other.
Yeah, that's
They
right.
do.
I think we're using biological bias, which is a term I've coined
Yeah.
for the now in which we live. Again, as Lee was agreeing with, the idea, ladies and gentlemen, and Adept, who's a gentleman, is the fact that those beings are alive inside of me right now. And yes, they may never get to Tina, right? They may never come to
Right.
this world, but you cannot negate their existence in the now in which I live also.
That's right.
Think about it.
That's right.
It's a
It is
live,
energy.
living cell, and with energy. Yep. But that also goes back to the energy. Where is conscious? What level? I mean, obviously, that level of energy
now we go.
is
Here we
not
go.
conscious.
Is it not? Here we go. Here we go. Carlos, here we go, Los.
So if you look up something called a paramecium, single-celled organism with a anode and a cathode, not really a cathode, but basically a butthole, right? It's got energy that comes in and energy comes out. Single-celled organism. You can cut off its head, it'll grow two heads. Now, you tell me how a single-cell organism knows to grow, to react to its environment when it loses a piece of itself. The answer is the things that make up the single-cell organism instruct the single-cell organism to adjust to that environment. Now, how would the things that make up the single-cell organism know to do that? They wouldn't, like, they are like, just like you, it's called being part whole. Every cell of your body is a cell of your body that came from the fertilized egg. One cell. Just one cell.
Yeah, it's a subconscious function. It's
Well,
like
th-
the
well,
same.
well,
You don't have
it's-
to tell yourself to
it's-
digest food or beat your own heart or
No,
you know,
my
all those.
point
I
is,
thought you were about to say something else, Adept.
my point is that every cell carries the blueprint of the whole. Every single cell carries the blueprint of the whole, right? There's no part.
Correct, that's right.
Your epithelial cell in your cheek has the DNA RNA, which is why they use it to get who you are at murder scenes and whatever.
The swab.
Because it carries everything from your cheek. So there is no difference between you, the egg fertilized, and you, the egg human being. No difference.
until it gains another DNA and becomes a unique.
To Opinion's point,
Like,
they're unique
Hey, did
in
you
the
guys
sac.
know about the new study?
The egg is unique. The cells in the sac are unique. The sperm is unique.
right.
They're all unique, and
But
then they
once
become unique yet again when they become
it
an
becomes
ovum.
fertilized and
Right.
it becomes its own
It is
specific
all
unique.
uniqueness. It is all. You can't be two things at the same point, right? There are no two
No.
sperm that exists at the same place at the same time. Not possible, right?
Yeah, that's
So
swab you're talking about. That's swab you're talking about. When man mate with a woman, the woman gets some of the man's DNA. So now her DNA is changed because she's got some of the man's DNA, even though it's going into the baby.
this is true.
Don't do that. That opens up a can of worms, Yag. That opens up a can of worms for the 304 Nation. Don't do that.
But it doesn't
Sorry,
change.
but I'm
It
just
doesn't.
speaking the facts, mate.
But it
Yes,
doesn't
facts,
change the eggs. But it doesn't change the eggs because the eggs
but
are
the
already
lady,
in
the carrier
ovaries.
gets your
Yes,
DNA.
it changes hers.
Ultimately, guys, my point is that the consciousness of who you are is unique and established when you are a single cell. A single cell in the woman, a single cell in the man, and then you become a new single cell, and your consciousness is newly created at that point.
Right. Now, the egg contains about 80%, and the sperm contains about 40%. there's overlapping and redundant genes that get ignored because they just are there, but the sperm doesn't give as much, but it makes the identifiers to make it unique. Because the egg, women are born with the egg. At birth, that egg is already established. Its genetics are permanent, because if she ever makes it to an age, just by nature says if this genetics are capable enough to make it to reproduction, then the genetics must be stable enough to continue the species. Which is
Gallery, can we go as is above, so is below, really quick, and just follow me, ladies and gentlemen, on this really fast. So, I'm sure you all might have thought of this before, but if you haven't, just look at this analogy really quick. You, I, Gallery, Adept, Mia, Tina, everyone on the panel, we live on a ball in stasis. No disrespect, flat earthers. Just go with me for a second. We live on a ball in stasis, right? In suspension. Men have balls in stasis, meaning there are beings that are swimming around the ball. Wait, the planet that we live on is mostly what? Water, right? Within men, there are balls in stasis that are surrounded by what? Water, liquid, and what? Beings swimming around that were trillions of beings in that water, as is above, so is below. What I'm trying to expound and explain is that there are life forms within men. Women are the wormholes of the universe. There is no taking away women's importance in the equation of making human beings. So ladies, please don't get it effed up. I love you to the core. I'm just talking about the fact that the men hold universes of beings that are already alive. They're live. They're not waiting to get into an egg to become alive. They transform, as the prompt says, once they get into that magnificent egg, or ratchet egg, depending on the egg, of course, and come to this world.
The bars, my brother, the bars.
The egg is only to deliver them.
It's a wormhole. It's a glorious wormhole. It's a magnificent ride.
Yes.
Let me just say this. I'm gonna drop right quick.
Calm down, Gallery.
Just right quick.
Yeah, they'll eat
Just say
us.
this right quick. Just know that in the act of making life, a woman can reach climax 20 to 100 times.
Oh.
No life is created. A man can accidentally let go, and you got life, right? So just process that for a second. I'll be back.
But again, all is important to make the human. Please, I don't want none of these ladies mad at me.
No,
There's too many gorgeous ladies on this panel. Hey, don't be mad at me. I didn't make it this way. I'm just articulating what I understand it to be, ladies. That's all. And your importance is value, just as value is mine, and creating a man or a woman in this existence.
Yeah, see, people are
measurable.
mad. Now it's misogyny.
Can I?
Never.
It's not. No.
Greetings to the gods and the gods.
We can call it.
Hello, Earthy. How are you, Miss Truth?
I am feeling fabulous today. I'm thinking more optimistically, so I'm fabulous. I just wanted to stick a pin in what you guys are saying and let you know that a woman can actually make babies without male sperm.
Parthenogenesis, it's called.
Yeah.
Pardon
It's
me?
proven. It's proven.
Parthenogenesis. It's called parthenogenesis.
That is to say, what you were saying with the sperm, we have that also.
Oh.
To add to that, there's just not many cases as I'll call it a fetus, respectfully, coming to gestation and being born.
Correct.
That's the only caveat to that.
But yes, go on, Gary. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. You know the name, and I've done the research. I agree 100%. It happens. It's true. A lot of them are called ectopic pregnancies because they don't tend to come to full term, but they happen.
Yeah.
Maybe some people call it immaculate conception.
Hey. But yes. It's an understood thing. It's called parthenogenesis. And it's just not a regularity, but anomalies happen in the
It's
universe
not
all
a
the time.
regularity anymore. It's not a regularity anymore because of genetic modification over hundreds of years. We have been modified with our water, our food, the air we breathe, culture. Everything is modifying us and changing us, even our frame of thought, because the way the women thought or think about things in those times is different from now. So they were able to allow the energies to travel where it needs to travel in order to have such an immaculate conception. So it's just
I
like,
agree with you. My truth. I will say this though, just let me pin this to the conversation too. While parthenogenesis is a real phenomenon, I much rather the genetically modified version. I'm sorry. I like the GMO. I like the man and the woman version of bringing a person here. You know, like I'm saying, call me, lock me
yeah,
up. I'm
because
sorry.
Gives me a
that
reason.
that is good. That is good because at the end of the day, when women were able to to conceive children without men, they were only creating females. They weren't creating men. So that
Ah,
also goes to show why we were visited by other beings outside of Gaia, outside of
Oh man.
what we call Earth. Man, that is a whole long stuff.
Well, I'm gonna add.
Yeah,
well,
I'm gonna. I'm gonna add. I'm gonna add a
the
pin to it.
yeah, we
Okay, of
attracted
course it,
those beings.
of course it
Here's
all
the
go
makes
ahead,
Yeah.
sense,
thing.
but
gallery.
this
Go
is
ahead,
where you're
gallery.
Here's
wrong.
the
Hold on,
here's the
guys.
wrap.
One second, gallery. Go ahead, gallery.
So I didn't join Ancestry.com myself, but my brother did. And my brother traced some of our genome back, and every part of the genome was assigned to a location on what we call Earth, meaning, oh, you're this part from Ireland, oh, you're this part from so, except when we got to around the 1500s, there was an introduction of what's called the Ashkenazi Jews, and they were not attached to any location. They were the only being that was not attached to a location physically on this globe
That's
that we
crazy.
argumentatively bang that part. So that's the pin for what you're saying, sis. Yeah, there's something fishy going on.
Ah,
Oh, that's a
yeah.
Well,
I'm
the
sorry,
problem
Lee. Lee, you were saying?
was with the Ashkenazi. The problem is they have never they've traveled all over and never really actually ever had a location. But you have to dig into
But
them.
don't you
But
dig?
That's why you can't
But
do a
dig
DNA
this.
test in Israel.
This is the
right,
issue. Even if they traveled all over the place, they would still have some place. They have no
no,
place.
they've never had a place. They've been all over. They're
Which
Well, where's the
basically
origin
means
then, Lee? Lee, what's the origin if they have no place? How would they have an origin? Where are they
that's
from
the
outer
problem.
space?
That's
that's
where
the
we're
point.
getting
Is
at.
well, according to their religion, yeah, they came here and conquered this planet,
Oh,
and we all should bow to them. But that's
Now you're
into
getting at it.
politics at that point.
it's a
I
very
I'm not
You are. You
exactly
yeah.
go.
There's
sure.
a
You
very deep
can jump
occult
straight from
history
there to
behind it.
politics. Yes, you can.
I said I could easily,
Nah,
very very
right. You don't
easily.
have to, but that's it. Yes,
Well,
right.
let's put it this way: the
mm,
Ashkenazis have been kicked out of, I think, 180 some countries, and they have no origin. No
They,
origin that they
no
come
origin
from.
story. Not no kryptonite story. No. Oh, okay. No Tiamat. Okay,
No,
cool.
okay. Actually,
do
in
you
their
guys
religion,
know
they
what a
believe they
cabbage
came
patch
here.
kid is?
Oh
Do you
What's
guys
that?
know
no,
What's
what
that? Truth?
Yeah.
a cabbage
clones
patch kid? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. They were created by various
in
places
labs.
in Eurasia
Test tube
to
babies.
do yes, yes. Some
Yes.
of them are
Mm.
actually in the test tubes, as in an incubator, and some of them actually had mothers where they planted the seed into the woman to procreate. So
Mm.
Where
Very
does this
that's
interesting.
the
story come
origin.
from?
So
Adept.
um,
Adept. What do you got for that? Adept.
I'm asking. I want to know where do these narratives come from and how legitimate and
well,
factual are they?
if you were supposed to study Hitler and what he did and how he raised his population up again, you will see that there. And if you study Eurasia and the genetics that they were doing, genetics, what geneticists? I don't know how to pronounce the word right now. I
Geneticists and
know, yeah,
genetics.
geneticist. Yes, that is the
Genetic.
word.
Yeah,
you will
That's what's
see
being said to
genetic
do
in
about the
engineering. But
children right now, to farm children for the
we're saying
abuses
the
that are happening
origins
on
of
the
these
planet too.
people.
That's what they're
But we're
doing.
but we're saying the
What's that, Tina? What's that, Tina?
That's what's being said for the farming of children for the abuses that are taking place in those ranks. That they're
In those ranks, I like the way you put that.
in the air quotes. They're taking and farming children through implantation to harvest their. Am I supposed to say the chrome?
I was wondering if you could
For the
say that or not.
torture
Also,
for the children, and that's
Yep.
really sad. It's because now it's being talked about here.
Okay, fine. The
Genetic
1600s,
harvesting.
where did they
Yeah.
come from? Does anybody know?
This is what we're telling you. They're coming from laboratories. They perhaps maybe have come from a space that is not the space that we call inner space, our little dome. But even after however they got here, they began to procreate by growing themselves in what we can call laboratories or cabbage patches.
So now they call themselves the chosen ones. Is that the same people?
Uh-oh.
No, that's not the
Uh-oh.
same.
I ain't gonna lie and say I know what they call themselves,
I can explain that.
but we tend to
Go on,
call
Lee.
them the Ashkenazi.
well, they're chosen to do what? Everybody's
Yeah.
chosen, but chosen to do what?
That's a
Well, there were
what you just
That's
said
why I
that.
said I can't call them
Themselves.
that.
there were
Yeah,
three groups
I
that
can't
built the
call them that.
pyramids.
Go ahead,
The
Lee. We're listening, Lee.
Ashkenazi or Khazarian, the
Mm-hmm.
Egyptians and the Semites all worked on the pyramids. Well, when the Khazarians came into Egypt, they started going, hey, for 5% of your pay, I'll hook you up with my cousin. He does straw. 5% of your pay, I'll hook you up with my nephew, And so these people were but they were paying attention to Egyptian religion and the Semite religion. And they had heard and found out about the story of the chosen people, God's chosen people. And basically and the truth is Pharaoh kicked them out because he found out that they were getting filthy rich. That's why they had enough gold to make a calf. I mean, if they were slaves, then you wouldn't have enough gold to make a calf when you got out of Egypt.
Let's go.
So they turned around and they decided that they could get away with anything they wanted to do if they incorporated and declared themselves the chosen people.
Let's go. You
So
getting real
basically, you
close.
just said that
I
the
love it.
pyramids. You basically said the pyramids were created by pimps. That's what I heard. Call me crazy.
Yeah.
Come on,
because
they got together. Go ahead. I like where you're going.
But they did. They literally, and that's, if you look at our calendars and our history, all of a sudden England for 600 years couldn't read or write. What happened during that 600 years? Did they all go to sleep? Well, they had to change the timelines, because if you actually put the timelines back to where they're supposed to be, it will line up with the Egyptian hieroglyphs that says, "Get these people out of my nation." And that was the Exodus.
Let's go.
Because those and
You can fast forward
and
to
when
the
they
Pilgrims.
left, fast forward to the Pilgrims, hit me.
That's actually the Assyrians.
I can't because I don't want
and
to. I'm sorry. That was a childish gesture of me not being patient enough to hear everything you have to say. I'll shut up until you're done because I like it.
So
It was.
I am a true descendant of the people that built the pyramids. That's what I was told. That's what I was told by my forefathers, and it's been stories passed down. Like when you just said about the Exodus, when the Exodus happened from Egypt, Melanesians. I'm a Fijian, so there you go. We truly believe that we are the indigenous of Egypt. We have same names. Our places are named the same. Our peoples have the same sort of culture, the same hairdos, the same names, the same. Our tools that we have on the islands now is exactly the same as the old Egyptian tools. So, and that's not spoken out anyway. And I'm surprised.
So
let me ask you real quick. Was there like two different factions maybe in Egypt at that time, where they split off into two groups?
when that big exodus happened, they not only came out to the Pacific, they went everywhere. But we, the stories that I have passed down to me is we came from Egypt. We came from Egypt because of the exodus of the Arabs or whoever it was, and that's the story I hold to my heart today. We
The
have songs
Ashrians
about it.
were sorry.
Carry
Okay.
on.
I mean, we know by archaeology there were no slaves in Egypt. There were slaves that were brought to Egypt, but they were taken care of. I mean, we see where people that broke their leg, they were allowed time to heal. There were people who used to be called slaves, that they did actual cranial surgery to relieve blood pressure in a bad incident. We see where we have absolute archaeology has never found one instance of slavery in Egypt.
The Ashrians were the ones who were actually expelled out of Egypt, and that was done by Thutmose. And that is actually on the pyramid walls and in the temple, on the temple walls, and the hieroglyphs showing.
You mean the Aboriginal Australians? Truth?
No. Sorry, it's not the Ashrians. I think it was the Hyksos, and it's actually shown on the temple walls, and you can see that there's a difference in the complexion, because the people who were actually driven out, they had a lighter complexion to the person who were actually on the carriage that was driving them out. That was Thutmose. So yeah, when they left, they actually did spread out, and we still have to do some research to see which aspect of Egypt that we're speaking about, because right now you're actually seeing that Egypt was on this side in the West. It was actually in the Americas, which is North and South America, Ethiopia, even in the old maps and stuff like that. So what we see as present day Egypt is not what was.
Let me continue this question. I want to continue this question. Albert, how's it going, Albert?
Hello, I'm good.
Hey, man, you see what we're dealing with here. You can jump in, but I did have a question I started to ask everyone. But you can jump in the conversation where we were also. But my question to you is: have you ever not been alive?
Have I ever not been alive? I don't. That's. I mean, can I say before I was born, was I alive? Sure how that applies here, but I wasn't alive.
Somebody said knowledge is born, but go on.
Before I was born, I wasn't alive. So if that counts, then yes. And I'm not sure if I'm sleeping. No, I wouldn't classify that as not being alive. So I would say the only thing is before I was born, I wasn't alive, and that's it. When I'm sleeping, it's just a temporary cessation of consciousness, but my internal organs are still functional, and I wouldn't consider that being not alive. So yeah.
Well, Albert, would you agree that birth is right after quote unquote death? As in, when you left your father's body and joined with your mother in that lovely egg, you were already a being, but you died. You left your father's world. You left your brothers and sisters that remained in your father's universe. And so you died in that realm and you were birthed into this realm. So would you not argue that you've been alive even when you were born again, quote unquote, so to speak, when you came into this particular world through your mother?
No, I don't think I would argue in that way. The reason, one of the reasons is because I have a very intense science background, medical science background. So I've studied embryology and human biology and all of those things, anatomy very intensely, and so I understand at the very fine level what is going on in terms of the sperm cells and how the sperm cells find their way through to fuse with the ovaries to form the zygote and all of those things. So and in the content of the cells, so I can see the complete picture of what a cell looks like, what is inside a cell, what the molecules look like, what is inside the molecule, what the atoms look like, and I can go right down. So I can make the connection. And so I do not see why there might be, there's some kind of life, because the cell can move.
Some kind of life.
Um,
Albert, I would suggest to you that you and I are simply some kind of life. I would suggest that to you. Now, we may think that we are the bee's knees, right? Because we're in the paradigm in which we speak. But I would, coming out of myself, leaving my ego in the meat bag that I'm in, I would suggest to you and I that you and I are merely some kind of life, the way you
yeah,
just described yourselves.
yes, we are one kind of life. There are other organisms in the world, plants, other animals, insects. Those are different kinds of life because the way their physiology and their anatomy has developed is completely different from the way the physiology and the anatomy of a human being has developed. So we're a different kind of life. However, there is some commonality at the basic level in terms of the kind of elements
That's for
of life.
certain. That's for certain. Because, of course, you would know, since you've studied biology, you would know that you're made up of just trillions of cells, right?
Trillions of cells, indeed. Yes, yes. So many.
And so if I started summarily picking off each one of your trillion cells, eventually all of your cells would be laying on the floor and all of you would just be all over the place. Like, you wouldn't be the particular Albert that we know, but you would still be the makeup, the sum total of all those cells that I've picked apart. And all of those cells individually made up this gentleman named Albert that I'm speaking to right now. Yeah?
Yes, yes. The individual cells, or all of the different cells of the different tissues. Yeah, all of
Yeah,
them
yeah.
of the human. Yes,
And you need those cells to be you to have this conversation.
yes. You need the cells to be alive and to work together, to function together, so that such that they give you the different tissues. The heart consists of
Well,
a combination of the tissue and
here's a caveat.
so
What
yes, I
if
agree
we
with
just
what you
picked off cells until Albert became a fish?
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. What if he can't swim?
Yeah,
Don't do that.
we're like him. Okay, I got a question. What
yeah,
what if, what if
so
subconscious and consciousness two separate consciousness?
very
The
accurate.
body consciousness, because like he was saying, I go to sleep, my body keeps working. My body still does what it got to do, kind of like a separate entity. But yet he drives
Lee,
this
to be honest
vehicle.
with you, Albert got kind of tied up on the sleep part. He almost thought that he wasn't alive when he was asleep. Remember, Albert? Remember you said that? You were like,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm asleep, am
Yep.
I alive?
No,
That was
I'm not sure.
that was next level. I was like, wait, huh? What? How? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
So let's
triggers
give him
me to
full
think.
credit for what his dissertation. Let's stick to his
Absolutely.
dissertation.
Clap
Can I
sound.
ask Albert a question, please?
Get it,
Albert,
Yak.
Go.
Come on.
since you're a health your background, sometimes when you sleep, like myself, not often, but I've felt it that my mind is awake, but I can't move my body. I cannot move. I am totally awake, but my body is as heavy as a stone,
Paralysis.
as a weight of lead. Has that
Weight
ever happened to
paralysis.
any of you guys?
Paralysis.
Um, you
Yes.
see, Albert, I don't know
Yes.
if this is your frame of thought, but I know that there are theories that we are living in a dream. What we are actually experiencing right now is an actual dream, and then when we go to sleep, it's a dream within a dream, like the movie Inception, right? So that is probably why he said he doesn't know if it is real. That's probably why he's saying he doesn't know if this reality is real or if he's actually just dreaming. Now, can I?
Whoa. Truth. No, I'll let you go, Truth, but I just want to jump in with you because yesterday we
No.
were speaking about that very thing. We were speaking about the idea of what is the demarcation line between this quote unquote reality and the dream? Which one is the actual dream?
We believe in this one. So whatever we focus on, that is what we will attach ourselves to, and we'll feel that that is more real than the other.
My truth. I'm not sure if what you're saying is that we are living in a simulation. Is that the claim you're making?
It can be a simulation. Listen, let me back it up and try to See if I can explain it better from this perspective. We
How
are
about
all
this?
gods and goddesses, right? Why are we gods and goddesses? Because as you guys were speaking about, as above, so below. Just like in our bodies, we have trillions of cells. We make up the body of what is Christ, which is Christ consciousness, which is spirit, which is what brought us all here, love, right? So that being said, that intelligence, that consciousness, that collective consciousness that we all are part of can make a simulation. Can make a simulation, or what we call dreams within dreams. It is all powerful. So that is why when we become aware of certain information, we can do certain things. What we will say, we have powers. We can tap into certain energies and stuff like that because we are God, just on a microcosm level, not the macrocosm or the collective. So we have power that we can tap into because we are all one. We are gods and goddesses because of that. So we can make that simulation or a
Let
dream.
me, I want
That's
to add to
that.
this with a bit of a theory. The mind does not sleep, but the body
Mm,
needs rest.
mm,
The mind does
mm.
not sleep, but the body
Think about
needs
that for a
rest
second.
to
But does the
regenerate.
mind
Think about
and
that for
leave
a
the
second.
body at
You
all?
don't. The
Understood.
brain never stops working. Think about it, because your
Mind and
No.
dreams,
brain.
your brain is using your dreams are using your brain. So your brain never stops
No.
working.
But
You
the mind
realize
is
that
consciousness.
um,
Consciousness does not need rest.
Now you
That
get where I'm
part.
coming
That's
from.
the part.
the thing about
That's what I'm
dreams is that
saying.
The
you
mind is not
realize that
consciousness. They're completely separate things.
you
Talk
The
about
realize
it.
that
mind
have
is not consciousness. They're completely. So is one the observer?
Oh, well, now we're thick in the woods. Whoa,
Well,
Where
whoa.
does the conscious
consciousness
go
is
when
the
you're
essence
asleep?
itself. It
Between
is
the
the
mind
essence.
and the brain.
The
Hold on,
There's
mind
one
a
at
is
a time,
difference
guys.
between
Go
the
to Deb.
mind and the brain.
Go to Deb.
That's
in very simple terms, consciousness is the essence. It is being itself, but the mind is the vehicle through which that being can experience. It is the vehicle itself, and then the mind utilizes the brain in order to kind of filter through to gain a certain level of perception on
Which
experience
is
in this
why
dimension.
the mind is perceived to be outside of the body above the head.
Mm.
It
mind is
encapsulates. It's not
consciousness.
like a
So if
book.
it is above the head and outside of the body, it is not the brain. It's a
Yeah,
collective. It's a
I'm
collective
starting
being.
to, as I've built with ladies and gentlemen for the past few months on this particular platform. I've started to come to the understanding that my brain, I'll just speak for myself, my brain is simply like a hard drive,
Mm-hmm.
and really the Wi-Fi, the consciousness is the Wi-Fi. You understand me? Like my brain is simply a conduit to conduct the Wi-Fi, which is consciousness. That's what I'm studying. I don't
The
believe it. I'm
application.
studying it.
The brain is the application of knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Tina,
Yes.
don't be upset with us. Come on now. Tina, have you ever not been alive?
Yes.
When was that?
Um, back in 2000 and it was
Wow.
somewhere, I injected something on a Tuesday and woke up in the same position on a Friday.
That's crazy work.
Yeah. So I was conscious of nothing, I can assure you.
Well, somebody might argue,
Um,
unless did you actually flatline? Like, did you?
I have no idea. All I know is it was Tuesday when I took the injection, and it was
That's
Friday when I woke up in the
next
same
level.
exact position. And my hair was knotted in the back.
Wow.
Like I was gnashing
Wow.
or something. I don't know.
Were you at the hospital when that happened, or were you
No,
just?
I was in
Wow.
in a place where that situation was prevalent.
I understand. Well, listen, notwithstanding that, because again, the devil's argument to that would be that you had a certain level of unconsciousness, but even within that perceived unconsciousness, the brain kept working because you're still here talking to us.
That's what I'm
Unless
saying.
yeah.
Because
But you were still alive, so your heart was still pumping. Your heart didn't
I
stop for 3
mean,
days.
because there was nobody to check my pulse, we don't know that.
Mm.
But at the same time, the brain is what functions the organs. So the frontal cortex is when you have an impulse to do something or something, you get that information. So in my theory from that part is the stomach and the heart as far as the intuition and where everything is held. That's why I believe that the heart is the subconscious and that all of that information is stored in the cells. That's why when you hear me talk about the physiological portion, because the information that goes in, it's held in the body. That's why I have a problem with people saying that they're separate from their body, because we are one with our body. The goal is to become, I guess the word is unison, where we work together with our body. We don't go against it. We don't try to get out of it. We don't allow traumas that affected our bodies to cause us to do things to harm ourselves. We have a desire to live as a human being in our body.
I would say it's to master it, to master the lower self and the lower instincts and impulses from the lower kingdoms from which the body adopted its nature from. Again, because the body, the human being, is composed of all the elements and kingdoms, the lower kingdoms, the mineral kingdom, the vegetable or plant kingdom, and the animal kingdom. That's of the flesh, but the point of the spiritual process of initiation in all ancient authentic spiritual systems, we're talking about transmuting it, hence the alchemical process, hence the transformation we were talking about originally, into the divine state of the God self, attaining angelic-hood, so to speak. And
which is the caterpillar to the butterfly.
Yeah, but then one thing I would say, again, with the subconscious mind is linked to the cerebellum. The heart does have its own intelligence. That's of a different nature per se. But because again, so the mind itself is the intermediate vehicle which connects the soul with the physical body. It's the repository of our thoughts, memories, imagination, and will, as well as other cognitive faculties. But then the structure of mind is threefold. You have the objective mind. It's linked to the cerebrum. It's concerned with our everyday thinking, reasoning, in our physical environment. The subjective mind, or subconscious, is linked to memory, intuition, and our automatic function. And then the spiritual mind, that higher mind that I was talking about, the higher faculties associated with cosmic awareness, idealism, and divine law. This is what's developed through that initiatic process and spiritual growth or transformation that we've been trying to talk about throughout the entire stream. So now the mind is centered in the astral body, and the mind uses the brain as its interface with the material body.
Interface.
Yes. Now the brain is the switchboard or receiving station through which
CPU.
Through which the mind operates on the physical plane. It's a mechanism through which thought is expressed. So again, yeah, just like you said, opinion. So the brain is like a radio receiver. So just like a radio doesn't generate sound, but it picks up the electromagnetic waves. Our brain picks up thought vibrations from the astral mind and then translates them into physical actions or speech.
Yeah. Because listen, I mean, to your point, and well said, Adept. Man, look, I've been a few things on this planet in 55 years, and one of the things I was and still am is an artist, and I've worked with some of the greatest, right? And so when I be in these studio sessions with the Black Thoughts of the world, with the Will I Ams of the world, writing records, man, I didn't have a dictionary beside me. I didn't have, the etymology of words beside me. Things just would come in the moment. And I'm telling you, it's a highly spiritual experience to get downloads of the hot shit. No pun intended. When in that type of zone, and that's what makes sense to me. That bro, this whole time you've been getting stuff. The brain's just been storing the sea of information you've been swimming in, and you've just been open to you've been like a fisherman, with a big catcher's net, grabbing some of the greatest information and filtering it through your CPU bars. Yeah.
I like that we know that the heart has intelligence.
Mm.
I think many people overlook the fact that there's something going on in there that's communicating externally and internally. So thank you for saying that, sis, because that's a very important point.
It to
Yeah.
me, it is what it is, because I mean, it is exactly what you said. The a child, when they can hear in their mother's womb, they start to collect data in what air quotes
Facts.
subconscious mind, and they're living in their exact now moment at all times. They're part of them that has the ability to reflect back on things has not developed or isn't present until a certain amount of time later, adolescence, so to speak. And then they are actually where they are, and that is from the heart. They're living from the heart. So that is what I looked at in the way of figuring it out, that's got to be the subconscious, because once you have to purify your heart, once you realize that there are things in your heart from childhood, from traumas that you go through, whatever, that's where you feel it. That's where the energy of the power is behind that, what's in your heart.
This is right.
Nice one.
Because
Mia?
the heart is the throne of the soul, where the brain is the throne of the mind.
That's low key bars.
Well,
That's low key bars. Mia?
Proof on that.
Mia,
yeah.
what do you think? Have you always been alive? Have you never not been alive?
I think it's a little abstract the way I see it. I see it as like a gene pool, and the only way that we could exist is through reproduction. And we're made up of specific genetic material. So, like, if we pass down our genes, then it's like, you know how when you make a computer, it just takes specific things like metal, copper. That's the same way I feel like we're made. It's like specific genes, a gene pool, and then also the the body itself. So there's like layers, right?
Yeah, I hear that. No, I hear that, but so are you saying that you're only the sum total of the lovely body that you're in right now?
No, I'm saying it's bigger than that. It's more like I'm just material. I'm made like I'm like 70% water, and then not only that, it's also specific genes. And so I can't exist ever again in the future, but I can have like my genes passed down, and I could be mixed with other genes in the gene pool and exist as like reproduction in the future. But I don't believe that I myself can exist the way I am right now in the
So
future.
you don't
Not you
think you don't
yourself.
believe in regeneration?
Yeah,
You
so
don't
it's like
believe in
passed down.
regeneration? Okay.
Yeah, because
Look, can I make a small point? Your body regenerates about once a year. You're in
Don't
the
do that.
future.
I don't mean
Don't do
regeneration
that.
like that. I mean like after you would have passed on this physical body, where your cells regenerate again in another generation as you are, so that you can finish works that you were supposed to do if you didn't get to complete your works.
yeah,
Outside of that,
Reincarnation.
regeneration and reincarnation is a little different, because reincarnation is more like you can reincarnate into a bat or a cow or some other something
Or
after
a
you pass
person.
on. But regeneration is you actually coming back again as a human in your future generations, like your bloodline.
So
In
like
terms
coming
of
back as your grandpa?
that is why, like for example, in a lot of African traditions, let's say for example Yoruba, you will have Ye, like Yetunde, which would be, or Yetunde, which means mother has returned or grandmother has returned, and Babatunde and stuff like that,
We
which
have
means
the
that
same.
an
We have
ancestor has
exactly the
returned.
same.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that is
sorry,
regeneration right there.
Hmm.
And outside of that,
He told me when he was
I
2
believe
years
that
old
not only the
that he
heart.
used to be my grandfather.
Pardon?
My son at 2 years old told me. My son at 2 years old told me that he was my grandfather.
That's
Yes, and
crazy.
if you said so, then it is so.
Mm-hmm. I didn't
Well,
disagree with him.
well,
And
most indigenous believe that after the fifth generation, we call like I call the fifth generation my bloodline. It's a word that it's not in English, but it translates to my forefather. So my fifth,
What's the word? We want to hear
my
the word in
great
your language.
grandchild
What's the
becomes
word?
my forefather. Does that make sense?
What's the word, Yak? What's the word in your language? I want to hear it.
Kawa. Kawa means
Okay.
bloodline. Yeah. After
I love it. Don't
my
deprive
great
us, Yak. Yak,
grandchild
do
will
not
be now
deprive this panel of information.
my
Kawa.
great grandchild becomes my
Kawa.
grandfather. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah, no, we need all these concepts,
Mm-hmm.
man. Don't, listen, let it out. Let it hang out, bro. Yeah, we can
and
handle it.
Yeah.
in the Aboriginal
Yeah.
culture, it's exactly
Give
the
it to us
same.
how
In
you learned
the
it.
Islander culture, it's the same.
Exactly.
Which
All
language
right.
is that?
That's Fijian.
Fijian.
Mama,
Okay.
Fiji,
yep.
from Fiji. Yeah. And I believe that not only the heart has consciousness, but every cell in our body has consciousness.
Facts.
And many for saying that is because, for example, your brain, as we know, is above, at the top of our body, enclosed in our head. But yet, still, when something happens below, our cells send information to our brain, letting us know
That's right.
what is happening to our body. So every cell in our body has consciousness, but the level of consciousness is not the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm smoking a bag of that.
The heart sends
Mm-hmm.
3 times the amount of information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart.
Let's go. Let's
Correct.
go.
I actually pulled up a list and breakdown of the nature of the heart and everything according to the esoteric metaphysical teachings. And again, this is like a condensed summary, so obviously you could get more in depth. So the physical nature of the heart, so the biological function, physically the heart is the central pump of the circulatory system, distributing oxygenated blood to the organs and tissues of the body. Blood is viewed not just as a nutrient fluid, but as the vehicle of the life force carrying vital energies. That's the
That word.
ruach, or the breath in the Bible, because that's the term that's used, the ruach, that was breathed into Adam, to use the biblical narrative. The ruach, or the life force, the vital life force, is what was breathed into him. It was funny because even Adam is synonymous with like the blood, or his name means red. But I don't want to get off topic with that. So again, carrying vital energies, magnetic vibrations, and subtle fluids that sustain the soul's incarnation. Blood is the medium of the soul's vibration. The heart is the throne from which the soul's forces are sent forth. Now, the part 2, the heart as the center of emotional energy. 1, seat of emotion and desire. In occult anatomy, the heart is associated with the emotional body, particularly love, devotion, sympathy, courage, and longing. It is not simply metaphorical. Emotions produce measurable energetic effects on the heart, which may be interpreted as evidence of the heart's psychic nature. Each strong emotion affects the rhythm and magnetism of the heart, charging the soul with either constructive or destructive force. Now, 2, the heart and the desire body. The desire body, or the astral form, is one of the soul's immediate vehicles and is closely linked to the heart center. The emotions arising from the heart influence thought forms, willpower, and karmic causation. The purification and refinement of heart-based desires is essential for spiritual progress, as desire becomes the motive force of soul evolution when directed toward noble ends. And part 3, magnetic and psychic function of the heart. 1, magnetic center of the body. The heart is the chief magnetic pole of the human aura. It radiates and receives vibrations more powerfully than the brain in certain domains. Its magnetism is linked with character vibration, a term used to describe the soul's accumulated tendencies from past lives. The magnetism of the heart molds the environment and attracts corresponding vibrations from the astral world. Note 2, the heart as an attractor. Like attracts like. The vibrational rhythm of the heart, which is shaped by thoughts and emotions, attracts experiences from the astral and physical planes. This is the occult explanation behind the biblical maxim, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Part 4, the heart as the throne of the soul, spiritual symbolism. So, as I said earlier, the heart is the throne of the soul, just as the brain is the throne of the mind. The solar principle, or the Christic force, so the Christ, the Christos, radiates into the body through the heart center. This is aligned with the sun's rulership over the heart in astrology. That's why sometimes if you see depictions of Jesus or representing the Christ, the Christic force, you'll see him, he's always symbolized with the heart, or the heart like open on his body, and he's pointing right to it. Because it is through the heart that the Christic force is channeled through. If properly awakened, though, it's not just there. You got to go through the purification process. So there's the hidden symbolism right there. Now, the heart is the temple of the indwelling spirit. It is through the heart that the soul makes itself known in purity of feeling and sincerity of motive. The astrological correspondence, the sun. The sun rules the heart, both physiologically and spiritually, because the sun represents will, individuality, inner light, and the divine spark, all of which find expression through the heart. The heart's condition reflects how well the soul's true purpose and inner essence are manifesting. And 5, the heart and initiation. Now, speaking of transformation, spiritual alchemy and the heart. In the alchemy of the soul, the heart must be purified of selfishness, hatred, and fear to become a vessel of divine love. The unfolding of the heart chakra is equated with the awakening of spiritual faculties, particularly intuition, faith, and universal sympathy. When the emotions of the heart are harmonized with the wisdom of the brain, the soul enters the path of illumination. So you need both of them. Can't exclude one or the other. Compassion is higher law. True initiation requires more than intellect. It demands a radiant heart. So Zane writes that the law of love is the highest principle, and it is felt, not thought. The heart must lead the brain in the highest spiritual work. Practical teachings on cultivating the heart. So you have practice emotional self-mastery, control fear, anger, hatred, and guilt. These distort the heart's magnetic rhythm. 2, develop universal love, not just affection, but selfless compassion, forgiveness, and aspiration toward unity. 3, use meditation and prayer to attune the heart to cosmic rhythm, particularly during solar transits. Because again, that's its astrological correspondence to the sun. 4, balance the intellect or brain with emotional wisdom, heart, so both are guided by the soul's higher will. Now, final thoughts. Let the mind reason, but let the heart feel. And where both are joined in harmony, the voice of the soul shall speak. For the stars may declare the law, but only the heart shall teach how to live it. And I drop my
And there it is. And there it is.